Yeah, I would suspect that they're gonna have to really try and bring it to Velia and Nemesis. Maybe they've got an early game pathing plan ready. Noodle has been one of the junglers of all time in the NLC.
And drop down to Nord as they kind of got wrecked. Not to put too fine a point on it. It was a really good series of them, as absolutely right. Story time will have to wait. Shiganari flashing away, but Reckless waiting here as down comes the level 3 Neferi. Hot dogs for dinner. And Shiganari is feeling a little overfull and will die for first blood to the dog in the jungle.
Very nice invade. Takes the blue buff, takes the Gromp, and then wraps around. Shiganari and Obstinatus have absolutely no idea. Because even though they were deep woods, Velia managed to actually wrap around them as Mouse will die once for now. Noodle tried to take the double scuttle coming through from Noodle right here. Mouse, that's a flash.
To try and punish this, eviscerating forward is Velia. Tehran going to be a little late. Nemesis flashing over here. Forced to flash out of those Jins out. Charm onto Tehran, who is going to get hit up by that rupture as Nemesis for a second or two, but they can keep on hunting. Call of the Pack buys a bit of time. Another eviscerate, and the Dark and Daggers keep on going through. And Nemesis gets another. Los Ratones off to the races. It's there as well. And Noodle, NLC Vet, will be looking to help push Verdant that little step further. But of course, to get there, they have to do a little bit of giant slaying. Los Ratones are looking to make sure they recover well from that upper bracket humbling they ended up receiving against the run of affairs as Bowsy gets ignited, and that's just a kill to Shiganari.
Here could end up being very deadly for the virus, but as you can see right here, Los Ratones is sort of sandwiching in towards the Void Grabs. The TP is going to come through though from Tehran.
Hook lands. That's Baus getting rooted by the deadly first. Reckless trying to buy some time. Headbutts Obstinatus into the middle of the pit. Tehran now teleports into himself. Looking to play this out. Can start to play around the grubs. Maybe he can smite one away. Looking to get some kills back. They've already nabbed one of the grubs. Have Lost Returns. They get the feats of warfare as well. As of course Crowny picks up a kill. Charm into the knockup. Into the dead Cho'Gath. Not looking so much like a Void monster as a tutorial boss.
Yeah.
And really good positioning from Reckless on that Alistair. Gets the headbutt back. Puts Obstinatus in an awful position. Baus now is somehow very deep, and I suspect he will be going down here. Has got a flash. Where is he going? Of course he's going to the wave. He's heading for the farm. He'll get knocked up, but he'll be able to clear out the wave at the very least. Baus will never change, will he? Gets feasted, so there's some stacks in the inventory of Tehran, but there you go. He creates when he presses Q. It's pretty awesome. Fight around the dragon, though. So musing about skins. May have to wait a second as everyone's trying to fight for vision in the banana bush. Velia will go untargetable for a second. Headbutt pulverized from Reckless. Brings down Obstinatus. Has a heat-seeking engage on that other support. Noodle going to try and find a moment. Does not get to Crescent God anywhere near in time to keep himself alive. A knock up onto the Cho'Gath. And again, the monster falls. Lost Returns have been clinical in these team fights.
Yeah, I feel Verdant are really weighing the situation when they're trying to fight for those neutral objectives. There's actually no wards, there's no vision, there's no formation. More than 30% of his team's entire damage distribution, and that's throughout the entirety of playoffs, right? So it's within series that they've dominated and within series that were hard for them. Obstinatus right here. Oh, in No Man's Land. Oh,
boy.
Well.
Is it Call of Pack? That's the W. What's the R button again? I'm having a moment. It'll have to wait as I muse on ability names later. Nemesis in a 1v1 with Sankux. Noodle coming down as well, but Nemesis just gets to press R a few times and run away. On. So I don't know how quickly and how long they can stick around. Velia are at 2/3 HP, but again with the Dark and Dice going to be healing. Charm onto Obstinatus. As Nemesis has decided to stick around. Reckless and Crowny now here, as is Sankux. They really want to potentially contest this. Noodle's gone very deep. Presses the R button. In comes the depth charge, but feels a little bold to throw down those ultimates. Flash for the charm. Flash in response. Keeps at least Obstinatus alive. TPs, I hear, beginning to fly on down towards his pulse. Obstinatus took the wall. Over the wall they're going regardless, but it's a double pulverized knockup. They'll bring down Crowny. Sankux still firing over the wall. Tehran is here as well. And I think Lost Ratones may have bitten off a little more than they can actually chew. Remember, Nemesis, no ult, gets feasted, goes down as well. And now Velia in danger in a 1 versus 4. Verdant have found a lot. You can call the back all you want. No one's on the other end of the phone. And a shutdown goes the way of Sankux as Verdant find a huge fight in the bot side. They played out really well as a great curtain call angle and a great teleport, and you can't ask for too much better. That puts Verdant right back in contention. They're still down 2,000 odd gold though. And Lost Returns look like they want to play around this as Reckless. Forced to ult and back away. Turn onto the hook lands and a charm in turn, but here comes the Weaver's Wall. And Lost Returns, these last few plays have not been fantastic. A chunk on Develio who eviscerates away. Baus is also now ulted on in. They get the knock up with the multi-man headbutt pulve. Health bars are low, and actually Baus can start autoing. I take it all back. There's the Hound's Pursuit, and Tehran can do what he wants, can't get in range to get the feast down. The health bar wasn't executable. Shiganari cleanses and begins to run away, hit with that Q, and Baus won't chase for him more, but actually good counter-punch from Los Ratones after the start of the fight got a little ugly.
On the side of Verdant, no amount of, I keep forgetting the word. No amount of tenacity, there you go, I found it, is going to negate the amount of knockups, right? The Cho'Gath, the Thalia, the Nautilus, they've got really potent C's if they can change together.
That was a counter-strike angle there. Man was getting collaterals the entire fight. Do you see how many multi-man Qs he got straight through everyone at the back end of that fight? Nasty stuff from the Varus. Nemesis, though, now looking for an ult, following up with this Ari, and Senkox flashes the charm, but where is he going? Over the wall comes Dobsonata's multi-man dredge line. And depth charge, I apologize, that's the name of the ultimate. Velia trying to hop away, will get knocked up by the 3 Talon Strike, and Los Ratones have gone a little deep. They'll change the corruption, try to turn this around. Does feel like those counter-punches still being very dangerous. Ends up being a 1-for-none in favor of Verdant as they blow a few summoners to come and save their mid laner's life.
Being on their sides, or at least something else being taken on the other side of the map. And right here, Verdant, they're going to capitalize on the fact that there's no smite on the side of Los Ratones. They'll take that Rift Herald and...
A silver lining bit of CC, but Nemesis, look at the angle. The charm is phenomenal. And Crowny knocks down what Nemesis sets up. Reckless goes forward, does get knocked up here, has to flash away to Noodle as Baus looks for the lane gank by driving straight down mid lane. Nemesis still got the ult to run with for a second or two more. Can look for a charm angle, lands it around the minions onto that Cho'Gath, who's a lot tanky now than he once was. But is he tanky enough to survive? Is for the moment. Baus throws up the Soul Furnace. You're over the wall goes Velia. Gets stunned up briefly, but chased onto Obstinatus. It's a double for Crowny. Gets a reset on the Hound's pursuit. Velia will go untargetable with the call of the pack. Sends those dogs straight after Noodle, who might be turning into dinner like his namesake. Gets in trouble though as he throws down the Crescent Guard, does pick off the Bias as he tries to get a few more autos down as a zombie. And the Cranberries have the right of it. What's in his head going this deep? The Dark Daggers land. And Nemesis helps get another with the very tip of the Q. Wait, curtains are called, and how many shots can they land? What's the dancing? She's like, Cranny nearly flashed into that bullet.
We're actually following up with this one, so they actually got caught underneath their own towers, and Los Ratones picked them up one by one as Nemesis has found himself another target.
He has so much ability. Haste's ult is basically on no cooldown. Keeps chasing, gets another for Crowny, who's now going to his 9th kill of the game. Charm just wide.
Onto the Nautilus, take this one down as well. What is happening? The replay is down in the bottom left as we're taking a dive straight onto the mid lane tower.
Well, Herald was taken by Verdant, so they'll charge it through mid lane and get a double charge off, which is nice for them. As the cacophony stops just briefly. And we'll turn instead to look at things like Hextech Dragon, which will be spawning in relatively short order. Charge now onto Shiganari, who was kind of split off from his team, trying to back away from the Baus. Got a lot of damage with this Titanic Hydra, gets knocked up by the Rupture, will be in feast range shortly. And Tayron will indeed press the R button, and Baus's zombie runs at a few people and tries to get a few more love taps down. No pun to Misfortune's kit required.
Yeah, top right though, 17 seconds until next. Dragon and Verdant are very, very quickly trying to reset right there. Obstinatus.
Oh,
mate,
boy.
You're on the wrong side of the moon. And this is going to be a 1-for-1. So full versus full. And let's see if Senkox not just to wall in, try and get something from that 4v4.
Would be a 4v4 because of course Baus is down, but then instead is the soul for Los Ratones. They get the full job with 4 dragons in a row at 23 minutes. Now turning it around by that extra lightning to their name. And somewhere out there, there's a God of Thunder or two who are approving it. This is Nemesis into the backside, multi-man slow, as the lightning begins to ground itself in the skulls of Verdant, trying to get the shutdown onto Shikanari, but Nemesis manages to bring that down in a 1-for-1. Maybe not the cleanest they'd like, actually, as Senkox running away from Velia, knockup now onto that dog who manages to eviscerate away to safety. Ends up being a 2-for-2, so not as clean as Los Ratones are hoping as they went diving with their newly gained Hex Soul and got a little bit too greedy with their newfound power.
The early game trying to get the Nafiri fed with all those kills as Reckless. It's gonna headbutt onto Obstinatus as Obstinatus cues the wall. And I feel like right here for Verdant, this will be their biggest test as they try to get some vision towards that Baron pit.
Quite deep for the Baus. I think he might be in trouble. Gets knocked up, flashes away. Curtains are called. Tayron, though, taking some big damage back. Down to about 10% HP, but over the wall goes Nemesis. Charm onto a key member of Noodle, who now Crescent Guards, but it might be a little too little and a little too late. Down to a 3rd HP. Charm onto Nemesis and stunned up. It's not a charm, but it feels like it. That Deadly Flourish was the lucky charm that Verdant needed. Pick off on the mid laner.
Baron up. 30 seconds for Nemesis. Does have the TP to get in. But that is just from Bella to try and...
He's gone.
Well... Oh.
Or not. There's the bleed, gets it in the end, and unfortunate. Noodle can't quite escape as the Dark Daggers do their work. Hop over the wall away from the Rupture, and suddenly what felt like a moment where Verdant might be able to find something is quickly turned back into an even state of affairs. And unfortunately for Verdant, they don't have a smite up, and guess what's in front of them, Georgia? It's Baron.
Absolutely. They do not have a smite, but they have something that is quite equivalent to one. They've got a Cho'Gath around with a feast, so this can get pretty scary if Cho'Gath gets anywhere near the pit. But as you can see right here, Los Ratones, particularly Baus and Reckless, have made it their life's mission to not let this Cho'Gath anywhere near the pit.
Nemesis back in TP'd in. Suganari looking for an angle. They are doing their very best to keep the Cho'Gath away. Root, though, onto Nemesis, begins to ult on out. Reckless will get the Pulverize onto Obstinates, and there is Baron secured. You asked them to keep the Cho'Gath out the pit, and Lost Returns heard the mission statement, and will even get a bonus to Lear at the end of it all.
And right here, let's be honest, Obstinates has this Hex Flash away from that bush, and there's going to be a push towards the top side of the map for Los Ratones. They've got the Baron, they've got 5 members, and they're looking for the first inhibitor towers.
In comes the Hound's pursuit, and Nautilus finds his diving suit full of a lot of holes. Tayron now in danger, tries to find some value, can't quite get a kill with that feast. Velia low, but I don't think he cares all that much. The curtain's being called, but unfortunately for Jin, I think it's his team that'll be forced to take the bow. The spell shield tanks the 4th bullet, and Suganari suddenly wishing he could count to 5.
Ooh, plain textbook right here from Los Ratones. Taking that mid lane inhibitor tower and the inhibitor as well. I mean, that's pretty good, right? You back off, you take your money, put it in your pocket, make it into items, and then just guarantee yourself a pretty clean game.
Got to try and find a way into this river without getting picked off on the way, and that's going to be no easy feat. All the while, look where Baus and Crowny are. They're in the base getting the final inhibitor.
Yeah, I think they're going to be threatening to actually end the game, because if you look on the top side of the map, there is already a wave running into the base. So Verdant right here, not only are they running back to the base, but now they're also surrounded.
Obstinate is going to get jumped on. There's the headbutt. The Pulverize come a little deep for this one, but Reckless can make himself very tanky with the press of an R button, and his will is very unbreakable, as is his body. Unfortunately, on the other side, Verdant look mighty breakable indeed, and LR take him over an E and snap him in half. Thrown off the Hell in a Cell through the announcer stairs, 16 feet or whatever the meme is. It has been a shellacking, a bloodbath. What is it, 44 kills in under 30 minutes. Los Ratones came here to play. They want to go to Denmark and they want to do it fast. They'll do game 1 at the very least in style.
I am not convinced on how good Misfortune and Victor are going to look in this game, considering how oversteppy both teams were in the previous game, and these two champions can be punished really badly for that. And
It's a surprisingly good bit to sustain that on the Rakan in the laning phase. The way, shove bot side allows a potential roam. Double knockup from Obstinatus buys a bit of a time here as Velia also takes a turret shot and needs to begin to back away, but look who's roaming down. There's the Malphite, there's the Victor. They are indeed assembling. Dun dun dun! Senkux looks for that siphon power, looks for the auto, can't quite find it, but gets the gravity field slow. And the final empowered order comes on down as Reckless is waddling around without a horse, and unfortunately, the big tree will be helping donate another kill over towards the Victor, who helps claim the feats of warfare as well towards Verdant. They just need a turret.
Funnily enough, we kept singing the praises of Shiganari for Verdant, and rightfully so, as I'm going to hold on to this. They're diving Crowny here.
We'll try and find a way out, but heavy is the Crowny, and unfortunately not heavy enough to fly out to safety there, even on a cool spaceship courtesy of Crowny. I suppose it's a nice toboggan in this game, but the point still stands. Across all time, Shiganari's played a lot of Misfortune. This will be his 16th game. Something like a 70% win rate on it, just shy. And this is looking pretty good for him so far. He can turn it into something a little bit more. Of course, all the while, Los Ratones do manage to stabilize a little, pick up a dragon, and it has found a roam timer though, Georgia. And I think this Aatrox might now be in a spot of bother. Flash for the perfect execution. R2 is available and doesn't even need to burn it, just uses the Q instead.
Until you have that rocket belt, then you're actually a champion on Akali. As right here, Verdant, they're trying to commit towards those void grubs. They call Velia.
Just to drag himself back out with the press of the E button. Velia now backs into the pit. They get the Maokai route down on a couple of people, but not to a huge avail. Tayron, though, no ult, still in the pit. Gonna back away. They'll take the single grub and extract, not willing to stick around and fight, especially with Corki nowhere near. Been a 4v3, I believe, as both AD carries not on the board there. So they'll give over 2 of the grubs, but not the full set. But still a marker towards the objective feat of strength, though, I will note. Baus, a good defensive counterplay, bot side into a good aggressive play just after. Because they would like to start keeping that up, though, as Reckless finding a re-engage onto Shiganari. Flashes away, but Nemesis looking to come on over, looking for the perfect execution. A bomber! Out comes the explosive cask and drinks Misfortune under the table.
That is indeed the perfect execution right there. Really does need to reset right here, but I'm not quite sure that he does have anything worthy of buying right now, as Baus going to continue proxying the wave. This is the time where Terran needs to actually head back to his tower because the wave is going to be incoming.
Oh, doesn't quite get cast back towards him, but the flash body slam! And Baus finds the solo, drinks another one under the table. This man is on a mission, and that mission is explosives.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate right there. Of course, Terran doesn't feel like he can walk into this river with just a couple of components in his inventory. This is a 4 versus 5. Verdant are literally stuck on spectator mode. You can't walk into the river. You can't take the fight. You can't push the mid lane tower. They need to figure out another way of playing around those neutral objectives.
Speaking of,
I was about to say, hold up. Have you jinxed it? Oh, there we go.
Flashes one, can't flash the rest. Over comes Tayron, a flash on out to safety. Turret shot's tagged by a Reckless, but Tayron can turn up and, I don't know, wave goodbye to his AD carry. About all he gets to do there.
From Noodle's jungle. And Verdant are taking whatever's left on the map, which is not the worst case scenario right here. Taking that Wraith Herald, you could potentially look to open side lanes or that mid lane to try and catch anyone trying to shove in that wave a little bit too far. However, Verdant
force their way into river. TP behind, though. We're going, and in comes the Baus. Looking to get on top of Shiganari, but of course, he's got Struck to work with right now. Baus goes looking for it. Finds the explosive cast onto Senko. He's managed to back away, but Nemesis in the backside. Finishes what his partner in solo lane started. Does kind of get caught up by Noodle, though. Will get traded. Value a little bit split off himself. Looks to get on top of Senko. Throws down the gravity field. In comes the grand entrance. Senko's doing his best to stay alive. Gets another side for power. Flash for the auto. Can't quite get it. As Obstina's trying to bounce around. Terran looking in. Gets another flag and drag. Will finally bring down the Rakan, but importantly, Senkox does survive. Ends up being a 2 for 2. Jungler dead, though, for Los Ratones. I'll note Verdant's health bars, not fantastic.
like Misfortune or any type of AD carry that doesn't move very easily. As I'm going to hold on to the thought because Akali is coming back in, and that's a 4 versus 4.
Do the 4 versus 4. Dragon, of course, being fought with no smite. Out comes the bullet time. Shiganari.
Not again! Not again!
Flip. Here comes the Storm Surge and that 5-point strike. Crowny now training up with Sango's got nowhere to go. Verdant Noodle are going to have to flash out the back, as is Tayron. They get out with the Dragon, but they lose 2 for the price. But they are definitely not playing scared of Lost Returns. Let's say that.
I mean, they've got the damage, right? And they've got the items. Noodle has gone for the double aggro item onto Maokai as well. The double burn aggro item onto the Maokai. And he's actually the only one who's on 2 items right now. Hold up. Obstinatus, and he's gone.
Get something back. They lose Obstinatus. Reckless now in a bit of danger. Taught on the wrong side of the gravity field, so it will be a trade of supports. On the other side, though, Tayron gets jumped on. Damage back, but here comes the healing. The bullet time is good enough to force Nemesis to R2 away. There's no D2 players in this game there. They're all a little higher in the ranks than that. Jump onto Noodle, gets a bramble smash back, but Baus throws out a cask and brings down the tree anyway. Lumberjack via explosives.
Go in and not allow Akali to play onto this backline. It could potentially be the key to victory. And right here, Akali doesn't have ult. Doesn't matter. Arakan's already gone.
And take it before Verdant can come and try and use the 2 items they've largely picked up.
But they have to always keep their eye on Nemesis, right? They've got a couple of wards behind them. They've got 2 control wards, if I'm not wrong. And they're trying to play with their back against that mid lane. But this is where Baus comes from. Nemesis is now through the jungle. The other side is full of Los Ratones members.
Oh, there comes the Cataclysm, and down goes Corki, though. That's not bad work. Bullet time is solid. Finds a lot of damage on the value. Has to flash away. Baus split up from the team. Terran beginning to jump at him. Just gets a body slam over the wall.
Yeah, and Terran is actually keeping Baus in check, at least for the time being. Doesn't want to let him in. There are a few low HP bars right here. Nemesis and Baus are playing with them.
Ask away, but they can look to try and catch him out as the Make It Rain comes on down.
Verdant focused all their efforts onto getting one member. That one member was Crowny. And that was a 4 versus 5 instantly in favor of Verdant.
Noodle just died, and guess what spawned about a minute ago? It is Baron.
Yeah, Baus does not have TP. Just gets his level 16 and starts walking towards the objective. The TP coming through from Tayron.
Try and play this around again. No smites. It will be a 4v5. Tayron trying to play this one out regardless. Nemesis still in the Twilight Shroud, looking for an angle. Into the backline they go with the quickness, trying to buy some time. Nemesis continuing to threaten. They've got the mid-tier 1 to work around still. And Crowny kills off Sengox. In comes the Cataclysm. The bullet time to try and stand and deliver. As Shiganari tries to draw the guns at noon. But it's a final hour in this game. Tayron tries to jump on forwards, but will die. Regardless, World Ender, unfortunately apt for Verdant's team fight.
Trying to get a little bit of intel on what's going on. We all know what's going on. I think they know what's going on as well.
Apparently, it's getting the Baron as Obstinatus hops back over the wall. Doesn't have anyone to battle down to quite yet. There is Sunkooks in that top lane, so should be able to get there out to safety well enough. But that is a break point. The gold lead balloons again.
They're gonna look for the last, I was about to say the last dragon now. For some reason, I thought they had 3. They have 2. It's gonna be sole point for them. They're trying to take again. What they've been doing so well this game is entering the
What?
Where did my
Skill
Victor
issue?
go?
He decided that he was going to go to the Shadow Realm. He's playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Now rather than League of Legends. And Baus has
with
decided
Yugi's grandpa.
to help him. Exactly. There are no weak players in my grandpa's team, but currently there is a dead Senkai.
Just Los Ratones, 3 waves pushing towards your base. Crowny and Reckless around that mid lane. You've got Nemesis and Velia over on the bot side of the map. This is going to be 2 outer towers taken straight away from the sort of Los Ratones. Playing against the tanked Gragas. You're playing against Baus's Gragas. Talking about it though.
Okay. Trying to catch him off. They go for the bush bait on the other side of the map where the dragon is. Good dash away. The strut is enough. Misfortune on the catwalk mid-team.
There are summoner spells on Shiganari and Senkax. So this is not going to be as easy to get to the backline.
Nemesis currently taking Raptors. Are they going to give up this dragon? Maybe they don't want this play. I think it is gone. No way for Velia to get over from where he is. He'll throw out the Maokai ult, trying to punish them as they're in the wrong side of the jungle of Los Ratones. Managed to back away far enough to not get hit by the Nature's Grass. Why? Nemesis has got onto an inhibitor turret. How has this happened?
Well, the entire time that Verdant, as Obstinatus has been left for dead behind, so we're gonna ignore that. The entire time that Verdant were actually focusing on getting the dragon, the entire Los Ratones was already in the bulk quadrant of Noodle's jungle. So they had taken complete control, complete vision. They had already pushed down the waves their way by Los Ratones and smite that dragon. There is a chance for a comeback.
Well, we said it was looking like that coming into that soul point fight, and they still managed to find it. It's still not been perfect, of course, because they end up taking a lot of structural damage from it. Honestly, probably critical structural damage. An inhibitor in mid lane, and at least the inhibitor turret in bot. Fastest
Oh no, 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 no,
He's
no,
resetting.
no.
Don't be
Not
shopping,
there, not like
don't
that.
be shopping. The high street stores are back in business, and Baus is looking to bring him down. Senkook stays alive for a second or two, gets cast, looking to stay alive for a moment more, and that is it. Baus with the bush special he learns from his former Fnatic companions there, who teach him the ways of their former team.
In his face, and I don't think there is much fight right here for Verdant to try and take that step forward, I guess, to get anywhere near Baron.
Yeah, it's not happening, is it? They're going to lose the Baron. There'll be a reset coming on through. There's a minute and a half until Dragon, which you know Lost Returns will then be able to play for, but you can already see that Verdant are saying, screw it, we're getting as many wards down as we can in the enemy jungle. We want to make sure that we can try and contest this dragon in some way, shape, or form. Problem is that Lost Returns said, fine, we're going to push this top side and try and at least get that turret before we reset and get even more gold in our back pockets.
And that's what's very scary right now. This Baron buff is going to last for as long. Everything has been swept from Los Ratones as well. That was inside their jungle. Very, very clever right there from the side of LR. And Obstinatus trying to get a knockup,
Here we go.
but
There's that Magnet Storm, but indeed, it's looking like that might be a very aggressive form of that connective. Noodle gets cast away, stays alive for a second. Senkook does not. Belly in the backside, Nemesis with the perfect execution, part 2. And unfortunately for Verdant, game 2 is looking like a done deal in favor of Lost Ratones. They care not for the dragon. They care for the end of the game. Baus will teleport down to the inhibitor in bot lane, and they will run these Baron-empowered minions straight to the Nexus, and a win in game 2.
a little bit of a longer game right here. A classic Los Ratones early game that brought us all the way here. But this is going to be match point for Los Ratones. One more.
I do worry about its ability to, protect Aphelios from the Vi and the Galio and the Nico, but I guess we'll have to see how much work Obstinatus is going to have.
What was the top side, which is the safest for him right now, as Velia is gonna... Oh no. He's just gonna camp that bush, trying to stop Shiganari from walking that tower.
Does it finally have that level 2, switches weapons, gets a little bit of safety back. Actually does get that dark passage back to safety. Can look potentially for the binding eclipse. Gets the flay back. Now Velia's in danger. They can turn it around. Moonshot! Not required. Just an auto is enough, and they turn it all around. Up there, of course, as it's the villain's entrance, not the hero's entrance. It was a stolen one.
Senkook's right there trying to protect Obstinatus, but with Dragon up and available, Verdant is going to focus on that, as Verdant are focusing on Baus.
In comes the permafrost and the glacial prison, and Tayron will say, you do not pass go and you do not pick up 350 gold.
Ambessa. is a little bit freeing for him, I guess, over in the laning phase. Let's see how he chooses to translate that as Nemesis just walks up, Qs, steals one Void Grab, no +1 tick on the I forgot what it's called, but the fit strength of the neutral objectives. You'll probably know this.
You do actually get it for
the
you.
name better.
It's the objective marker, but yeah. No,
you got two actually.
Now.
True,
so
true,
you do
true.
get 2. Now, actually, also they get a kill on the other side as Velia tried to cross map and gets punished by the death sentence into the Severum Crescendum combo. Aphelios now at 2-0.
So far, so good for Verdant. Nothing extraordinary, but at the end of the day, they're playing for a scaling composition. They're playing for late game team fights, and they found Velia.
Another death sentence, and that'll be the permafrost stacking as well. These picks have been brutal. In comes Nemesis, but look, Sen comes in with a dark passage assisted Pop Blossom. In comes the Moonlight Vigil, and a second one's picked up. Doesn't even need to use the Binding Eclipse. They get a double.
In terms of, it's an Aphelios, and we don't necessarily see that champion very often as a Obstinate to stress his luck. Oh!
Pop Blossom comes on down, flash out from Chronic, but there's still a Binding Eclipse. Looks to cleanse and flash out, uses the ult 2. Gets to stay safe. TP's beginning to fly. Nemesis looking for the shield of Duran. Torn onto the front line. And Senko's TP'd at a half HP. It just gets melted. To get some burst combos. That death sentence. Inches off hitting Noodle, though, on a flank angle. Going to try and find a way to turn it around as they go in with that cease and desist. And Obstinatus just dies. The flank is turned into a bit of an awkward sit there and watch their player die. Reckless. Looking for a blooming burst onto Noodle, who has to sort of back away. Dragon has spawned, and without the support, the man advantage gives LR the opportunity to start it up.
Yeah, Thresh is a pseudo-tanky champion. You can't really be face-checking. If you get caught, you're going to go down really quickly.
Bundle on a wraparound, though. Might look for the dive. Tyrion going to try and start Dracount stepping away. Out comes the pillar. Subjugate down as well. Public execution onto nothing and no one. Doesn't quite go down, but is forced to reset here a little awkwardly. The turret is going to be picked up surely by Baus as a result.
Yeah, Los Ratones are trying to play away from Shigenari's Aphelios right now, which is very wise. Try to isolate side lanes, take down Tyrion on the Ambessa. Didn't end up getting his flash either. However, they're going to trade.
Allowed to hit your buttons appropriately. If you can get a good Moonlight Vigil, you can get big combo with your abilities and get some of those 3 weapon switches. You can find some moments, but this will keep happening on the side lane. In goes Baus. Crowny follows with a killer instinct. And that instinct was correct. Tyrion finds himself in a 30-second grave.
Yeah, Verdant are going to use the Rift Herald right now. Use the numbers advantage that they have on the map, at least for the time being, to take that mid lane tier 1 tower.
Nice little flash to interrupt the Justice Punch. Flashing on forward from Noodle. Going to get the permafrost down. Pop Blossom in response, though. Velia turning up. Trying to turn it around with the hero's entrance, but there's a dark passage out to safety. Baus now hunting. Has got flash to work with. Can look for something more. Cooldown's not that long. Speedy at this point with the tier 2 boots. Looking for another Q. Mega Blast Cone. Just out to safety. Flash not quite enough to get in range, but Noodle now split off from his team. Turret was secured all the while. There's another dark passage. Can Noodle get to it, or is it going to get body blocked? Not quite enough. Turnaround, they've stolen Velia's ult. The Subjugate could be valuable here. And that Verdant actually do a good job of extracting the skulls. Well, we'll know Shigenari has died. Baus in danger. Needs to try and back away here a little bit. Looking to go on forward. Dracount step into the public execution. He's overstepped. He will die now. Surely no way out for the Vi. And Los Ratones lose their top laner, even if he buys a second or 2 more.
Yeah, that was one of the longest plays in history as Los Ratones take advantage of all the chaos going on the top side of the map and majority of Verdant. Not majority, well, the whole of Verdant.
2 TPs begin to fly. We are getting a bit of a fracas on the board. Baus on a flank angle. Didn't come on in. Nemesis as well. Going to be spotted out as they try to turn on the Galio. Turning to pick him up all the while on the other side. Tyrion and Obstinatus buying space with the box. In comes the Galio hero's entrance. Dragon secured, but they're going to turn it around now onto Velia. All the while, though, Crowny onto the backside for Killer Instinct. He gets the double. The Moonlight Vigil. Shigenari takes a few back with him. They can't quite finish up. But wait, what about the turnaround? The cease and desist stops Tyrion from claiming the lives he so desperately wanted to claim. It's Crowny with the triple. He remains untouched.
He played that flawlessly, dived into the backline.
It's looking pretty difficult here for Verdant for all. There's been a moment or 2 on screen at least where it felt like they had some options.
Yeah, an Atakan is being started right here, as you rightfully mentioned. 4 members of Verdant, but no one's really getting anywhere near. They do not have vision. They would be face checking, and that could be GG right here if you face check 1 too many times. Now, of course, I wanted to point out that even though they did their best from the side of Verdant to get those skills onto Aphelios,
we're going pick CC into a Chem Soul, which will give you tenacity, those wonderful things. Gonna try and turn around to the Baus, who just take a fair amount of damage into the stolen cease and desist. He gets so much back, though. Senko's had to flash away. Noodle now in danger. He's turned into his namesake. He's dinner. Down goes Senko. Sankox as well, who is cut down in his, I'm not even sure it's prime at this point, really, is it? In this game, 1 and 3 on the Silas, having a rough old time. Crowdy with the killer instinct, looking for the orders. Taylor tries to get on with the Drake house up and just can't do it. Faust debating going forward. Of course he does. It's another good Moonlight Vigil. He'll get one back with Shiganari, but the fireworks mean nothing. It's a festival for Los Ratones.
He gets 2 in the end, but it's an ace for Los Ratones. And right here, they're going to get to push that bot lane tower and finding their ways into those neutral objectives. There's no easy way to face check. Noodle's going to have to do it for them as Faust is looking for Shiganari.
He goes the distance. In comes the hero's entrance, and Galio brings the pain. They'll pick up absolutely everyone in the mid lane. It's Noodle and Sankox alone trying to clear the wave desperately to hold on to the game. And Los Ratones will be having none of that. A triple over to Velia.
And you just see how simple it is. No mobility, no flash, no barrier. Press R, stun him into place. Everyone dives in. Shiganari dead. He's the whole damage from the side of Verdant. He was the last choice of damage, and he is down. And Los Ratones are taking everything in that base.
10 seconds to go, and Los Ratones have decided they've had not quite enough. They'll take a Nexus turret and then go back towards the inhibitors. A little umming and ahhing there.
Resets, they hadn't gotten the extra gold in their pockets translated into items yet. So I really commend Verdant for trying to get that aggression through. You grab 3-4 kills, you grab Baron, you could turn the game around like Vice to pin you down.
This is not a naked Vi, as you like to call it. She has a full mecha transformation sequence as Galio goes for that, but it's Baus, and therefore he actually might, so I have to keep an eye on it.
Hey man, if you have a Kai'Sa and a Galio diving in with you, I mean, I guess that's a risk you're willing to take, especially with like 11,000 gold in the lead right here. They are looking again for Shiganari. He's playing very safe, still no flash.
The wallets have turned into the whole damn vault. Vi, quite known for breaking those. Just press Q once or twice. In comes the Glacial Prison. It's nice, but there's just no follow-up. It's only onto Reckless. Not the most valuable target. Shooting Duran onto the front line. Obstinatus flashes away on the thresh. In goes Reckless. Pop Blossom on 3. Crowdy follows. They try and buy some time. The villain's entrance is followed by the hero's rebuttal. They'll keep throwing out the Acathian rain, and they know what they say about that. When it rains, it pours. Verdant will be absolutely annihilated. 3-0 for Los Ratones. And Denmark, check your harbors, check your ships. They're full of rats. Los Ratones are heading to finals.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.